dear children, how are you today? That's good to hear. But before we go further in our discussion, let's have an energizer first. Let's have a action song. And this action song entitled Thank You God. I want you to copy the action presented in the video. Am I clear? Very good. So let's start.
Thank you, God, for the beautiful world, for the sun and the blue sky, for the birds and the fish and the flowers and the trees and the cute little butterfly. Thank you, God, for the beautiful world, for the sun and the blue sky, for the birds and the fish and the flowers and the trees and the cute little butterfly.
Yes, very good everyone. I know that everyone are well energized already. But before we move in our discussion, let's have a review first. So yesterday, last meeting, we tackled about the importance of art. The importance of art. And we tackled about how the art beautifies our surroundings. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Is anyone who can tell me his or her insight why art is important? Yes?
Art is important because with art we can see and recognize the beautiful world.
Yes, exactly. Very good. Who else? Yes?
According to my observation, with art, we can recognize how God powerful is, and indeed, He is a master of creativity.
Yes, very good. I hope that you will keep admiring and loving it every day. Am I clear? Very good. Okay, class, before we go further in our discussion, before we move in our discussion, let's have an activity first. So this activity is called If You See Me, Draw Me. The mechanics of the game or the mechanics of the activity is that I will group you into two groups, and as you can see, I have here a pencil, a crayons, and a pen paper. All you need to do is to what? Draw anything that you've seen in the surroundings that you considered as an art. Anything that you can see, either trees, flowers, anything that you considered as an art. I will give you only 8 minutes to do the task. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. So now proceed to your groups. Okay, class, what did you observe while making your activity?
We just draw what we see in the surroundings that we consider as an art.
Okay, very good. I hope that what you have seen and draw in your activity will keep you preserving, admiring, and caring our environment and surrounding each and every day. Good job, everyone.
Okay, before we go further in our discussion, I have here a short video about our topic. I want you to listen and watch this video carefully for you to really understand what today's discussion is. Are you ready, class? Okay, very good. So now, watch this video.
Today, we're discussing about principle of art, proportion. Again, the principle of art, proportion. Are you ready? Let's begin. Before anything else, kindly observe the picture. Look at the child's drawing. What are the things that you see? Based on the drawing, it has a sun, a flower, a boy, a girl, a dog, and a cloud. Compare the sizes of each drawing. Is it equally proportional? Kindly observe the drawing. For today's lesson, we will define what is proportion. Proportion is an important principle in design. It is the size of different parts within the entire piece. It shows the relationship of objects, images, or parts of the whole design. Proportion simply means balancing your drawing in a given space or area. That is proportion.
Okay, class, what did you observe in the video? Yes, correct. Very good. So our topic for today is all about the proportion in art. Okay, class, what will you do if someone talking here in front? What else? If someone wants to ask and answer the question, what will they do? Okay, very good. Can I expect that from you, class? Okay, thank you.
So today, class, let us discuss all about the proportion in art. But before that, in your own opinion, what is proportion in art? Okay, thank you. So, proportion in art is defined as the relationship between one object to the size of other objects, surroundings, or elements in composition within artwork. It can also relate to the size of part of shapes or form compared to the overall size of the form. I will show you a picture and observe if this picture show a proportion in arts. So class, does the picture shows proportion in arts? Very good. There is a proportion between the size of the leg, the hand, or the face compared to the overall size of the human body. So class, do you think the size and shapes are important in proportion? Then, why do you say so? Exactly. If the form, size, shapes are not in the right proportion, it will distort the balance and harmony of an artwork. Like for example, in this picture. So now class, let us discuss what is proportion as the principles of art. There are 4 key points to be discussed today. First, let us discuss what is size. Proportion refers to the size of the object in relationship to another object in the art, or sometimes concerning part of the object compared to the whole object. Like for example, in these pictures, there are different sizes of the object compared to the whole objects. Class, will you be able to say the size of an object in the picture if there is no object to be compared? Very good. No. Therefore, relationship is important to create good proportion. Like for example, in this picture, if you draw a tree on a paper, you cannot tell if it is big or small just by seeing the tree. On the other hand, if you draw a house near the tree, you can visualize how big the tree or the house is. Number 3, comparison. Your brain visually measures the size and compares two objects to include as to which one is big or small, the distance of the two objects compared to one another, and etc. Like for example, in this picture, the chicks is the big and the man is small. Based from the two objects, you can conclude which object is small and big. So the last one is the realism. If we follow proportion correctly, the overall artwork and the shapes and form in the artwork will look natural. Proportion brings realism to a painting. So, do you still remember the 4 proportion as principles of art? Yes, the size, the comparison, the relationship, and the realism.
Good morning, student! I am Roxanne Bantuasan and I am your teacher for today. And now class, let's move on to our next discussion. So our next discussion is all about 4 types of proportion in art. So we have, first is standard proportion. So now we will tackle about the first proportion, standard proportion. So standard proportion, accurate or create proportions are utilized for the subject matter. This applies to facial and body features as well as the general of proportion between parts in the art composition that would suggest normal proportion. So that is the first proportion, which is standard proportion. Okay, and the second is we have altered proportion. So what is altered proportion? Altered proportion refers to an artwork that come in all different shapes, size, and where the proportion has been changed, distorted, or altered for a specific reason. So this type of proportion is utilized to tell a story, have a specific meaning of a message. So that is an example of altered proportion. And now the third proportion is hierarchical proportion. So what is hierarchical proportion? Hierarchical proportion is different from standard proportion in that the various elements in the artwork will be sized in order for their importance. Thus, the most important part of the artwork will be larger and more obvious than the less important parts. Using hierarchical scale works best in artworks where some parts need to be highlighted more than others. So here is an example of hierarchical proportions. And then the fourth proportion is we have exaggerated proportion. So what is exaggerated proportion? Is also referred to as out of proportion. It refers to a situation where two elements in artwork have sizes that don't reflect the relationship between them. Making an artwork out of proportion is usually deliberate, but sometimes it may be due to an accidental error that may ultimately Mark the artwork if the artist tries to correct the mistakes. Here's an example of exaggerated proportion. The man's ear is certainly not in proportion with the rest of his body. Thank you, class, for listening, and I hope that you learned a lot out from our discussion. Thank you.
So hello everyone, so I'm teacher Lloyd Orvin P. Salazar. So now, because we are done our discussion in this morning, so let me know if you understand our topic for today, okay? So let me ask you something, students. So first, what was our topic for today? Any volunteer? Okay, Justin, what was our topic for today? Okay, our topic for today is proportion in arts. Very good. So my next question, students, is what are the 4 types of proportion in arts? Any volunteer? Justin? Anyone? Any volunteer who want to answer? Okay. What are the 4 types of proportion in arts? So we have standard proportion, very good. What else? Altered proportion. We have hierarchical proportion, very good. And the last one is exaggerated proportion, very good. So now, get one sheet of paper and don't forget to write your name. And answer my 2 questions. And don't worry because this question, students, is related in our topic, okay? So the first question that I will read today is this one. In proportion in art, they have 4 principles. So why we need to know this? So the second question, students, is do you agree that proportion in art is important to us? Why or why not? Okay, let's move on. Now, get 1/4 sheet of paper and don't forget to write your name. And also, before you answer, students, don't forget to read the direction carefully. So, I will give you 1 minute to answer the questions, and after 1 minute, pass your papers, okay? For your assignment, students, study in advance. The topic is all about contrast. Okay? So thank you for your cooperation, students, in this morning. So see you next meeting. Okay? Goodbye, everyone.